Chapter 11, A Private Performance. Remember, if you enjoyed, to like, share, and subscribe. The next morning, you rise late, refusing to leave bed. Last night's emotions still swirl around your head, and the taste of Nate still lingers on your lips. I wonder if today will be the day Lawrence ruins my family, now that I know what he's been doing. It's so incredibly obvious. Though I suppose I'm only marginally more discreet than him. My little sister caught on to my secret without so much as even meeting him. But Luis's security is at risk. No matter what my lout of a husband does, it's my job to protect her. I can't let last night happen again. And yet you close your eyes, recalling the feeling of his mouth on yours, the heat of his body pressing against you. I want to kiss every inch of you. You remember his warm lips brushing your ear, his fingers softly caressing the delicate skin of your neck. To hear your breath quicken. You think of how his movements were slow, deliberate, how the smallest touch sent shockwaves through your entire body. I want to feel your skin grow warm beneath my touch, to see you inflamed with need. You're fighting to suppress the ache building in your core when your sister suddenly bursts into the room. There you are. I've been desperately waiting for you in the breakfast room. And by waiting, you mean charging into my room unannounced? Well, I couldn't wait there forever. There are so many important things to do. The ladies last night said promenading is a must if you want to catch and keep the right gentleman's eye. Are you sure you're not tired from being out all last night? I've never felt more awake in my life. I could have danced with my husband last night. Unless, of course, another young lady catches his eye while promenading this morning. Please say you'll chaperone me. It looks like such a lovely day, and I know you'll find the fresh air invigorating. She leans in, dropping her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. Besides, you know Mother would be an absolute dragon about it, and if I can't go, I shall be desolate. Yes, fine. If it'll make you happy, we shall promenade our hearts out. Just promise me you won't walk too fast. By the time you reach Hyde Park, all of London seems to have turned out, dressed in their finest midday wear. So many handsome gentlemen. Perhaps my blue gown would have been better, or the pink. You look perfect, Dove. Why, every lady here must be envious of you. Louis scans the park for many prospective gentlemen. You can see several other young ladies covertly doing the same. Although not everyone appears to be looking for a husband, Caroline speaks closely with a new companion. Oh, why, Lord Knightley, oh, how masterful you look on horseback. Yes, well, I've always enjoyed the feel of a fine filly between my legs. There's something satisfying about a good hard ride, wouldn't you agree? Swinging down from his mount, he steps forward, purposely brushing against Caroline's chest. You lean over to Louise. Lady Caroline is far too indiscreet. Indiscreet who? What? Where? You calm Louise before she causes a scene and nod discreetly in Caroline's direction. I cannot understand what she must be thinking. As a married woman, she must know how foolish it is to flirt so publicly. I can practically hear the gossip managers or mongers whispering about her already. Though, having ridden astride myself, I can hardly blame them. What I'd give to ride with Nate again. It must be terrible to love someone only in secret, though perhaps it would be exciting as well. Speaking of which, I saw you and a man who must be Nate at the ball last night. And the only time I was with him was in the library when we... Well, not together, exactly. He was staring at you from across the room. If I didn't know better, I'd call him completely love-struck. Relief washes through you. Louise did not catch the two of you after all. Be honest, did he come to town just for the love of you? Do you think he came for me? My husband called him. Lawrence realized how inept I'd be at securing you a husband without the proper lessons, so he changed his mind. Lawrence doesn't strike me as the type. I think Nate tricked the Duke into inviting him down. I saw the way he looked at you last night. Even across the room, his feelings were obvious. He couldn't stand to be away from you for another second, even if it meant traveling all the way to London. Louise's next breath catches in her throat as the haughty-looking woman approaches. Sophie, Countess Dumarch is coming this way. She's known for her impeccable fashion sense. Do you think she remembers me? We were introduced last night, but the crowd was so large and I'm rather small and... The Countess stops in front of you. She stands tall and proud, elaborately dressed in the latest fashion. Ah, Lady Louise, was it? And this must be your sister, the Duchess of Sussington. Oh, are you... Yes, how charming to meet you, Countess. It seems we missed each other at the Lord Pharaoh's ball last night. Indeed. At least the weather is quite tolerable today, don't you agree? It's a beautiful morning. Though it doesn't compare to your delightful gown. The Countess draws herself up to her full height, visibly preening beneath your compliment. It is rather lovely, isn't it? My modesty has the fabric brought in from Paris specifically for me. Oh, it's utterly radiant, Countess, and so different from the gowns most of the other ladies are wearing. Because your family is quite discerning, Lady Louise. I shall spread the word amongst my friends. As the Countess departs, a man calls out in greeting, his powdered wig flopping every which way as he hurries across the path towards Louise. What ho! I'm sorry, what now? You just yelled that at a woman? Oh man, I can't. Drat! Lord Howard appears to have spotted us. The poor man is already besotted with me. You have to save me. Lord Howard catches up to you, panting slightly with effort. A small, overweight dog is cradled in his arms, also panting. Oh, bully, to see you this morning, Lady Louise. Mr. Pepperpot and I were hoping to run into you. Mr. Pepperpot? I swear to God, if it's a fat pug, I swear to God. My pug! Oh my God. Of course. Jolly little fellow, don't you think? Reminds me of that wooden book. Mr. Pepperpot is so adorable. Too bad we're allergic to dogs. Especially pugs. We shall have to keep our distance, of course. Oh, is this the royal we, or... We, as in myself and Louise, our family, really. But Louise has it the worst. Blimey, that is unfortunate, isn't it? And here I thought we could... Achoo! Lord Howard bustles away disappointed, but Louise looks at you with barely contained gratitude. Thank you. I hope we won't try to court me further. Do not fret. I shall inform Penderton that you are to be out if Lord Howard ever calls on us. Though I do hope we have at least a few minutes reprieve today. Who knew a gentle stroll could be so much work? Oh, but it's work you excel at, sister. I would never would have known it was your first time promenading today. All in the day's work, Louise. As you turn the corner, Louise suddenly stops short, her eyes trained on a familiar young man a few yards away. Yes, him again. Sophie, look, it's Prince Maxwell. Didn't I see you dancing together at Lord Pharaoh's ball? He seemed quite taken with you. Do you really think so? He was a splendid dancer and so tall, although not too tall, of course. I wonder if he'll turn this way. Are you quite sure I look presentable? I'm sure any gentleman here would agree that you look delightful, even the highest born among them. Perhaps it's just that when we were danced at the ball, the prince was ever so delightful. And so easy to talk to. We spoke of Mr. Lawrence Sterne's most absurd novel. He's the only gentleman I've met who I can feel so at ease with. If only I could find a way to continue his acquaintance. I'll make a way. If you think the prince is your love match, who am I to stand in the way? Louise squeals, grabbing your arm tightly. Thank you, Sophie. This is why you're my favorite sister. I'm your only sister. Your sister's eyes land solidly on Prince Maxwell as he talks politely with another debutante's family. What do I do? How do I attract his attention? As we walk past, you must... lock eyes with him. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. So much can be said with just a look. Are you certain he won't misinterpret my stare? Well, if you look dumb and your tongue hanging out, he might, but otherwise, no. If he is the man you think he is, then he will not. The two of you continue your stroll past the prince. Louise flutters her eyelashes as she catches his gaze. Pardon me, there's someone I need to speak to. The prince breaks away from the other debutantes, then hurries over to greet your sister up close. He is even more handsome than you thought. Lady Louise, it's wonderful to see you again. And so soon, too. It is wonderful indeed. May I present my sister, the Duchess of Sussington? You greet the prince, who bows politely. To your pleasure, you note how quickly his gaze returns to Louise. He must be as interested in Louise as she is in him. I confess I was hoping to run into you here today, although I grew worried I might not spot you. I'm glad you did. We never got to finish our conversation about Mr. Stern's novel. In that case, you should join us for a stroll, Prince Maxwell. I'm sure Louise is growing tired of my company. Are you sure? I wouldn't want to intrude. I believe you at least would enjoy the time alone, no? Only way you'll avoid that hungry-looking society mama. What? I'll just do a time alone. I may be an old married woman of 21, but I like to imagine I've not completely forgotten what it means to be young. Why, when I was your age, I would have given a year's pin money to be alone with a potential suitor. At the word suitor, both Louise and the prince flush with embarrassment, turning to look at every which way but each other. Oh, well, in that case, I would love to join you. Perhaps we could speak more about Mr. Stern's novels, Lady Louise. Wonderful. Louise is so fond of reading. I'm sure she has much to say on the subject. Sophie, you make me sound like a terrible bookworm. As a fellow bookworm, I look forward to hearing all of your opinions on the subject. The prince extends his arm for Louise to take with giddy delight. This is going even better than I had hoped. You keep a polite distance behind the prince and Louise through the park as they chat away. But don't you find Tristram Shandy to be quite the silliest man you've ever heard of? Are we meant to champion his causes? I don't believe we actually are, but I do rather think that's part of the novel's charm. I'm sure they'd both be thrilled to have a little bit more privacy. You clear your throat, and they both turn back to you, clearly startled. Remember, you're there. The two of you should go on ahead. I just need to fix my shoe. Such tiny buttons can be so troublesome, don't you think? Truly, we women do suffer for fashion. This is why I prefer slippers to boots, although perhaps that is because I so love to dance. I, too, enjoy dancing, though I might be missing some of its charm. Should I find myself a pair of slippers, do you think? Oh, what would people say? Tell me when you find out. In the meantime, go on without me. I'll only delay you. I shall make sure that Lady Louise and I don't wander too far ahead. You linger to adjust your shoe as they move on. You can't help but notice the other young ladies watching enviously. Is he really promenading with Lady Louise? Why can't he stroll with me? No, the prince should be walking with me. God, triplets. Kill us. Louise is absolutely glowing. Clearly there's real feeling between the two of them. They look so happy together that you find your thoughts drifting towards Nate. What would it be like to enjoy a romantic promenade through the park with him? Your vision turns dreamlike as you start to imagine him beside you. Perhaps we would disappear behind the copse of lilac bushes together. Follow me, Duchess. And then he would whisper sweet nothings. You could almost hear his husky voice in your ear, his breath warm against your bare skin. You're so beautiful, Duchess. Your scent is more alluring than any flower. You close your eyes as you indulge in his honeyed words. Your taste is more delicious than the sweetest nectar. Nate. And your skin is silkier than the softest petal. Your blood quickens at his words, his lips just brushing the sensitive skin of your ear. What I wouldn't give to lay you down right here and explore every inch of you. Every inch? Do I really warrant such a thorough examination? Absolutely. I would part your delicate folds and find the sweet bud at your very center. We know what that means. Sorry, not sorry. Your breath comes faster, your body growing flush at the thought of his hands on you. I want all of you, Duchess. Perhaps he would slip his fingers into the bodice of your gown, finding the firm peaks of your hull. Okay. I need... Uh-oh. It was over short and quick, let's put it that way. That's what you get for daydreaming in the world. Your fantasy shatters, and you blink in the harsh light of the afternoon sun. You've brushed up against a tree, its rough bark snagging your dress. You catch sight of your sister and prince coming back down the path towards you, chatting about the muffins. And she keeps offering me more tea with her, as always, on involved event. Get a hold of yourself, Sophie. You smooth down your flyaway hairs as they approach, licking the lingering taste of Nate from your lips. Finished already? Unfortunately, I must depart to have tea with my aunt. Hopefully my stomach is adequately fortified. I dare say there are fates worse than muffins. Perhaps, although I'd much rather spend more time with you. Louise looks away bashfully, clearly overcome by the prince's attention. I should accidentally push Louise into the prince, invite the prince to call on Louise. To call on her. If you ever require more robust fare, your highness, you must join us for tea. Our cook is renowned for her ham sandwiches. Oh, yes, they're ever so hammy. In that case, I shall be sure to call upon you soon. I do love a good ham sandwich, though not nearly as much as your company, Lady Louise. The way he looks at her, I'm certain he's smitten. I shall make sure the cook always has some in readiness, your highness. With a final sweeping bow, the prince walks away. Your sister gives an incoherent sigh of joy. Surely I shall expire from happiness. Wasn't he just the most agreeable gentleman you've ever met, Sophie? He was certainly very pleasant, and he seemed to enjoy your company very much. Do you think so? You're not just saying? I'm certain of it, Dove, and he all but said as much just now. I do hope I see him again. Don't worry, I'm sure a few more diamond choices and you'll be right as rain. She beams with excitement. Her gleeful chatter continues as the two of you make your way out of the park. As you return home from the park, you find your thoughts once again drifting to Nate. I'm thrilled for Louise, though I suppose the season shall be a lonely one for me. But when you enter your townhome, you find the Duke and... Good afternoon, Your Grace. I hope you were able to enjoy the fine weather. I was, but what I mean is, what are you doing here? Surprised to see your tutor, eh? Just look at the face on the girl. She doesn't know what to think. I certainly do. Hush! I didn't say anything. Duchess looks between you and Nate before slinking away to her room. Lawrence, I can't believe you surprised me. With you being so busy with your work, I can't help but be touched that you thought of me at all. Lawrence's chest puffs with vanity at the praise your small dig at Mina passing completely unnoticed. Yes, well, nobody can claim your husband is neglecting you, not after this. Well, I'm glad to be able to be of service. Not a moment too soon. The wretched opera's happening tonight, and I'm certainly not going to bore myself to tears there. No, Nate can accompany you and your sister and demonstrate the proper decorum. I'll be at my club. Summersville owes me a game of whist. Obviously pleased with himself, Lawrence departs, leaving you and Nate to retreat to your private sitting room. As you close the door, your heart thuds loudly. He's here with you! Maintain decorum. You ache to feel his touch once more, but you stand firm and resolve. I cannot let last night happen again, I can't. And yet you will. He notices your distance and respects the invisible barrier you've built, yet you can't ignore the hunger in his eyes. I never thought I'd say it, but thank goodness for your husband, and a night at the opera of my own. I couldn't ask for more. I suppose I should ask if there's anything I ought to know before we go. I've never actually been to an opera. Only a select few care about the music. The rest know it's about dazzling with fashion and witty repertoire. If you show me to your dressing room, I can instruct you more closely on what to wear. That would be scandalous. What would be so scandalous, Sophie? You and me alone in a small room together. I believe we've crossed that line. I suppose you're right. You are my tutor, after all. Yeah, but not in what to wear. He moves closer, mouth curling into his wry smile as his gaze drops to your lips. And if I tutored you in this, my eyes lingering over every inch of your body as you disrobe in front of me. You swallow hard, your throat suddenly dry. Is it you, or is it just the warm touch, or touch warm in the parlor? I'm sure it would be considered very scandalous. He is very incorrigible. When you arrive in the dressing room, Nate holds up a new gown for you to see. You realize it's absolutely gorgeous and incredibly daring. It's rather suggestive neckline, no? Have you currently seen your current neckline? I know it's slightly more risque than your usual look, but it's in fashion, and the lower the better as far as I'm concerned. I took the liberty of having it sent over from the Modeste. I thought this one was sure to turn heads at the opera tonight. Again, I stand by my comment of, have you already seen what you're currently wearing before this? Literally was about the same neckline. Literally, look where we're at right now. Look where we were. Yeah, okay. It's the most beautiful gown I've ever seen. Perhaps you might help me dress. I was afraid you'd never ask. You close your eyes as he unfashions your old gown with painstaking slowness. Nate. You relish the feel of his hands as they find slivers of bare skin. A pity a woman's gowns have so many buttons. I suppose I'll have to stay in here forever. Somehow I think he'll manage. And manage he does. After a final fastening, he slides the dress down your body in a one fell swoop, leaving you in just your undergarments. His eyes alight with mischief as he gazes at your practically naked body. Enjoying the view? Yes, though I'm selfish. This view is mine. You slide into the new pink dress, basking in the smooth silk and golden trims. He drops gentle kisses in the crook of your neck as his sure hands lace up the back. Oh, this is just the appetizer. Just wait until the entree. He stands back to admire his handiwork. The full skirts, the ruffled sleeves, the dip in the neckline. Let me check one thing. As his hands check the pearl necklace's fastenings, his head dips to your cleavage. Nate! His tongue draws a line along the tops of your breasts. drawing heat to your chest. A moan escapes your lips, yet he doesn't relent. Heavens, you feel... But as quick as he descended upon you, he lifts his head with a coy grin. Perfection, I do believe you're ready for the opera. That night at the Opera Society's best has shown up for the glittering affair. Louise takes in the gilded theater with wonder. It's all so grand. Just look, sister. Can you even believe it? Calm yourself, Louise. Why, your eyes are wider than your skirts. People will think that we've never been to an opera before. But we haven't been to one before. Yes, but the trick is not to let society catch on. You hold your head high as you step forward, your daring new gown drawing looks of both admiration and envy from the nearby ladies and gentlemen. Have you seen the Duchess's dress? How daring, no? The bodice de hauteur. A low murmur follows your progress through the room. It appears as though your gown is the talk of the evening. Is it my imagination, or is it everyone whispering about me? You certainly made an impression, but rest assured the whispers are of envy. You look stunning, Sophie. As you make your way through the dense crowd, you feel an arm wrap around yours and tug you away. The town gossip, Lady Saunders, has cornered you. We meet again. I've heard much circulating about you since Lady Adeline's garden party. You have? Of course, my dear. It's only natural that tongues will wag when a new neighbor arrives. Oh no, if she doesn't seek to make me her next project, that won't end well. Speaking of, I hear your sister and mother recently arrived from the country along with your tutor. I'm flattered you've taken such an interest. Although I'm not sure I warrant so much scrutiny, I am already a settled matron, after all. Nonsense, you're the Duchess of Sussington. Your sister's expected to make a similarly dazzling match. The eyes of the world are upon you both. I see. How disconcerting. You'll soon grow used to the attention. The wife of a duke cannot afford to be shrinking violet. Lady Saunders leans in conspiratorially. I've heard that several highly eligible bachelors have already expressed interest in your sister. In fact, numerous friends have told me about how Prince Maxwell promenaded with your sister just today. See, she's obsessed with your sister, not really you. Is that what people are saying about Louise? Perhaps she'll make a splendid match after all. In large part due to you, I'd wager. Why, just look at your gown. It's no wonder the prince is eyeing Lady Louise. Impeccable taste must run in the family. You are too kind, Lady Saunders. Rest assured I shall be keeping a close eye on both of you. Not too close, I hope. I'd hate to poke out your eye. As the opening strains of the orchestra are warming up the filter through the room, you finally find Nate and Louis near the entrance talking to Mina. I hear you're an expert on all things opera, Mr. Pippin. He certainly is. He has just been preparing my sister for the evening since his arrival today. Expert might be a strong word, but I have attended the opera on numerous occasions. Perfect. Then perhaps you would join me? I would so love to understand what they're singing about for once. Mina, I'm surprised. You haven't seen the opera before. Didn't I hear that Alencia played in London last season? I'm surprised you chose not to attend such a popular performance. So many social engagements, it's hard to keep track of them all. It must have feel all so new to you, though. Well, what do you say, Mr. Pippin? Would you care to take me up on my offer? Courting a tutor, Mina. I recall you saying such a thing was unladylike. Perhaps Mr. Pippin should spare you the humiliation. That's not what I didn't mean... Mina stumbles over her words as Louise and Nate stifle their laughter next to you. You meet eyes with Cecilia, communicating your gratitude for her intervention. In fact, I wonder whether Sophie and Nate should make use of a private box for this performance. In my husband's absence, I won't be making use of ours. What a generous offer. We would not want you to be all alone in your box. It would be my pleasure. Lady Louise can be with me. Sophie should take in her first opera completely. Not worry about acting as a chaperone. And I have the privacy to do whatever unladylike things I want. Using the private box. I just hard roll my eyes at this. If my sister is agreeable to the plan, I would love to make use of your box, Cecily. I would love to keep you company, Miss Countess. My sister would only distract me too much to enjoy the music. I will certainly appreciate it more with Nate's private tutelage. Mina wears a scowl next to Nate. He shrugs apologetically at her. Thank you again for the kind offer of your company, Miss Bitmore, but I must help my pupil. Yes, well, perhaps the Duchess can spare you next time. Not for you, no. Maybe the Duke will help you. As Mina pouts, you and Nate make your way to Cecily's private box on the other side of the opera hall. With its gilded surfaces and plush velvet curtains, the box is incredibly luxurious. I've never seen such opulence before. It's so beautiful. And so very, very private. He looks at you with a wolfish eye as he's rhymed. Despite the crowd filtering into the venue below, the two of you are completely alone. Slide my chair closer. Partially hidden behind the heavy curtains, you press your thighs against his, feeling the length of his leg against yours. Even through the layers of fabric, the heat of his body envelops you as if he were the sun on a hot day. Are you sure we won't draw attention sitting together like this? No more than you were already attracting, Sophie. Everyone who looks at you cannot help but desire you. His closeness makes it hard to concentrate on the stage below. His lips find your ear, tickling you with desire. Me, most of all. You're acutely aware of how close he is to you. As the lights are doused, your pulse races and your breath quickens. Oh, it's starting. The curtains draw back to display an island in a vast sea, its shore lined with exotic-looking palm trees. A handsome knight appears on the stage. La giorno Emanuele ladro codir non torna. Listen, if it's opera, I'm going in. Y'all didn't expect that, did you? I'm a man of many talents. He leans over, his lips nearly brushing your ears. He speaks softly to you. This is Ruggiero, the hero of the tale, although perhaps hero is a stretch. I've always regarded him as a bit of a scoundrel. The soft stirrings of his breath against your skin is enough to make you tremble. You feel as though you would give him anything to keep him talking. Tell me more. What is this Ruggiero doing on the island? His lover, Bradamante, has just rescued him from an enchanted castle. But the hippogriff he was riding upon has brought him here to the island of the sorceress Alcinia and Morgana. Oh, okay, I have to do the female voice too. Are you serious? Mio tesoro, mio ben, mia, chiamale signo infedele. Alcinia is a voracious lover, but easily bored by her conquests. And so what, she takes another? Kind of like Mina. Just as soon as she has turned her last premier into stone or shrubbery or anything else that takes her fancy. Nate halts for a moment, as if realizing how he must sound to you after your last fight. Which isn't to say hers is a happy existence. I've no doubt she foolishly dismissed an excellent lover in her hubris. Maybe. Or perhaps her lover should have worked harder to please her. Hmm. He raises his eyebrows at your response. His surprise pleases you, making you feel mighty. Oh, and what, pray tell, might the unfortunate knights have done to keep her interested? They would practice better swordplay conversation. Conversation in bed, why? There would be statues all over her chambers. Besides, too much dialogue is tedious to watch on stage. His lips graze your skin as he whispers sensually in your ear. His touch sends tendrils of desire twisting through your veins. I myself prefer a little more action. He punctuates the final word with a small nip, his teeth gently scraping the sensitive flesh of your earlobe. You shudder in response, arching yourself eagerly towards him. And what action would you use to save yourself from a voracious lover? Your breast slyly graze against his arm, your body aching in response. Oh, okay. The rest of the world seems to have fallen away. Still, you know, the theater is crowded with onlookers. While you and Nate may feel as though you're in your own private world, the two of you are very much on display. Somehow the idea only heightens a thrill shooting through you. Nate, what's happening now? On stage, a woman disguised as a man removes her helmet as she attempts to free her lover, Ruguro, from the seductress's evil grasps. Ruguro, non mi conosci. She'll succeed in rescuing him. It's a Pyrrhic victory. He can't help being haunted by the enchantress's beauty. I'd imagine those whose hearts you've conquered in the past feel much the same. Me, a conqueror of hearts. You've confused me for someone else. And yet, that space in my chest is empty when I'm apart from you. Aren't you... I'm worried I'll get bored. The seducer in this case? His eyes flicker with desire. Boldly, he reaches out. Oh, okay. Basically, he got very handsy. Your cheeks are still flushed with heat as you rejoin Luis at the grand stairwell. And the story was ever so romantic. What was your favorite part, sister? Your pulse quickens once more, remembering the feel of his, Oh, I enjoyed the prologue very much. The prologue? Lisa's forehead wrinkles with confusion. Luckily, you're saved from having to explain more by the timely appearance of a hand on Luis's arm. Lady Louise, twice in a single day. What are the chances? A fortune must be shining on us today. May I say how splendid you are looking this evening? How did you enjoy the performance? It was absolutely wonderful. The costumes, sets, the singing. I would watch it every day if I could. As would I. Though it would be more enjoyable with the right company. The prince gives her hand a meaningful squeeze. Your sister flushes in pleasure. My. Aren't you two well suited? It seems as though the two of you have much in common. I agree. First literature, now opera, perhaps Lady Louise and I are twin souls. Just like Bradamanti and Rigoro. Although, had I earned the favor of Bradamont's love, I would never have fallen so easily under the sway of an evil sorcerer. Louise looks completely taken with him, and he with her. But your smile fades as Lady Saunders bustles out of the crowd, stepping between your sister and the prince. Your Highness, I have someone you must simply meet. Come quickly, or we shall lose them in the crowd. This woman is everywhere, you know. With a reluctant nod, the prince bids you both a good night, then follows Lady Saunders away. His eyes linger on Luis as he departs. I never dreamed the season could go this perfect, sister. I think I may be falling in love with the prince. As you both stare off at the prince mingling at the behest of Lady Saunders, the joy of seeing your sister in love is dampened by a nagging sense of dread. If Prince Maxwell is Lady Saunders' latest project, Lisa's path to his hand just got a lot more complicated. Alright, well, without further ado, thanks all for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down to the description of the video, plenty of things to check out there. With that being said, like I said, let me know what you thought in the comment section. Like I said, also, it got very handsy, so you know how YouTube is with the whole thing. You know, sometimes I have to, stop it, so that way we don't get in trouble, and we don't get the channel deleted, or, you know, pretty much our videos taken down, because then all of you go, what happened to the video? And then it's like, well, see, what happened is YouTube's a hypocrite. What? Sorry, what? Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.